Should I buy a fixer-upper house? Hi, welcome to another episode of Silicon Valley Real Estate Advice with Stephen Smith. Today I'm going to talk a little bit about fixer-uppers. Okay, so what is a fixer-upper? Well, a fixer-upper is typically a house that's going to be potentially run down a little bit or has deferred maintenance and might need a little bit of extra work or might need a lot of extra work. But essentially, it's not move-in ready. So what are the pros and cons about buying a fixer-upper? Well, let me go over all of them. Buying a fixer-upper depends on your situation. It's one of those kinds of things that if you can only afford a fixer-upper and you don't mind spending the extra money or doing some of the work yourself, then it might be a good idea for you to be able to afford something. On the other hand, if you're a really busy person and you don't have time or you're not handy or you don't have the budget or the inclination to take on projects like that, then fixer-uppers are probably not for you. There's probably less competition for fixer-uppers because it's not for everybody. Another thing is that you're going to be able to get it at a lower price, which is really pretty cool. Another thing is that you can be in charge of whatever renovation. So let's say you are looking at a house and it has renovations. If you're doing it yourself per your specifications, you can direct specifically exactly what it is you want when it comes to getting it redone. Speaking of choosing things, you can choose the colors, the materials, the contractor, the time frame. So it's all basically in your control. Okay, the cons. Well, it can be very expensive to do a fixer-upper. Again, it depends on the condition of the property. You may have to spend a lot of extra money to get it to the condition where it's really going to be desirable. And if you're doing it for an investment, you may or may not break even. It really depends on the amount of work that needs to be done and current market conditions. Okay, the budgeting part of it. You're going to have to do a lot of due diligence in order to figure out what the budget is, and then you have to decide whether or not you have the budget for that. But a good rule of thumb for any kind of a project like that, because there's always unexpected costs, is if you have a budget, you probably are going to need to double it in most cases. That's just the reality of it. Another thing you're probably going to run into is unexpected problems that rise up. Even if you do a thorough investigation of the house, things just have a way of coming up that are unexpected, hence having to budget additional money for stuff, because unexpected stuff's going to happen and it could really impact your budget. And then the time frame also. How long do you have in order to do this? Whether you're doing it yourself or whether you're hiring it out to a contractor, there's going to be time frames and lead times involved, and you have to take all that into consideration because contractor may not move as fast as you want, or you may not have the time to spend on projects yourself. So those are things that are serious that you really need to take into consideration before taking on a project like that. To sum up the ideas around fixer-uppers, you really have to do your homework. You've got to do your due diligence and decide if this is really going to be what it is you want. For some people, it's great, but for others, it really isn't. So again, check out your budget, how much time, whether you think you're going to get a decent return on investment, especially if you're planning on turning it around and flipping it. And then 3, long-term, is it really going to be what it is you want for your long-term needs? Well, that's about it for today's topic. I'm going to have more information regarding the things you need to do in order to find that fixer-upper, as opposed to just the pros and cons on the next episode of Silicon Valley Real Estate with Stephen Smith. Until then, if you like what you hear, please like this video or subscribe or share it with your friends. And if you're interested in buying or selling in the Silicon Valley area or even the San Francisco Bay Area, please reach out to me. My contact information will be below, as well as at the end of this video. Until then, thanks again for watching, and we'll see you next time.